whole life, I've known that octopuses are solitary species, and that's kind of information that just isn't accurate anymore. In the last 10 to 15 years, we've learned more about cephalopods and octopuses than we have in all of human history. And so a lot of knowledge that we have previously known is changing just because we have more information now, more research, more studies, more experiences with these animals. Previously, octopuses were thought to be solitary because they do not raise their young, they live in a den alone, and they don't really interact with each other outside of mating. And even then, mating has been sort of a not really social thing that they did. A male just kind of extended out an arm, and it was always done at a distance, with a male even dropping his arm in fear of getting eaten by the female. And so this is 100% not really a social behavior at all. It's almost just kind of like a thing that they have to do that they begrudgingly don't want to do in fear of losing their life. But now we've come across a lot more species that is challenging this idea of octopus as being solitary animals. The best example of this is the larger Pacific striped octopus, which is a species that for a really long time we had no knowledge of. A diver, engineer, and artist, which slay, I love that distinction as a scientist, artist, and photographer, actually found these guys and tried to present them to the scientific community, and the scientific community for the most part just ignored it. Give them some credit, they did go looking for these animals and they could not find them, and it wasn't until about the 2010s where we actually found these animals and could observe these behaviors and prove that this diver was right, and scientists apologized and even put him as a co-author on these papers. Now this is a species that is social. They live in groups, they have social mating behaviors where they're almost like kissing beak to beak, and also they're idioparous, meaning that they reproduce more than once. The algae octopus Abdoctylus aculeatus, which I'm most definitely saying that wrong, also has social behavior, social mating strategies, and behavior that's much more similar to decapods, our squid and our cuttlefish. Our own study species in my lab, ruby octopus, Octopus rubescens, one of our old lab mates, Jesse Humbert, actually filmed them in the wild, which they live in these little discarded beer bottles on the ocean floor, and actually filmed social behaviors of Octopus rubescens, which is thought to be a solitary species that existed outside of mating. So just them interacting with each other in general, because they kind of live in these little communities of discarded beer bottles on the ocean floor. So that's a solitary octopus species that we now have evidence of having social behaviors even outside of mating. And then on top of that, we also have octopolis and octlantis, which are two octopus communities outside the coast of Australia, where octopuses have come together to create cities. Cities is loosely because it's kind of just the discarded trash of what they've eaten. If you've ever seen an octopus den, you can identify them by the discarded shells that they lay outside of them, because they don't want the trash inside their home, but they're okay with it right outside their home. But in the case of octopus and octlantis, they actually kind of live in their discarded shells and have made these little congregations of cities where they are interacting with each other daily, all the time. Sociality. And also on top of that, there's a whole study that came out in regards to octopus hunting with fish, which is something that we had known about for a while. Are octopus really solitary if they have been working together and hunting with fish? The beautiful thing about science is that when we come up with more evidence and more data, we reassess our conclusions and then also make new ones. And I am experiencing the whole thing of learning that octopuses are solitary animals my whole entire life, and now experiencing that actually they may not be as solitary as we thought.